see. Hey, here we go. Here we go. How are you? I am just so excited to be here today, you guys, on Be Filled. I'm starting to do some things called author chats. We're going to have some amazing authors come by to inspire you guys, fill you up, help you to be filled with their journeys. Oh my goodness, the one today I am just so amazed by. I've just been fangirling since I read it, and I just need you guys to run out, pick up a copy, grab a audio copy, whatever you got to do. But we are talking to Shane, the author of Broken Little Believer. And I cannot wait for her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, thank you so much. I am so happy that you invited me on, and it's so nice to see you after all these months since we saw each other in New York City. So this is a gift to me. So thank you. My name is Shane SVOREC, as you mentioned, and I'm an author. I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. I visit a lot of schools. I believe that we all have gifts, and we all have a calling, and we all have a purpose. And part of my purpose, I believe, and part of my gift is writing. And so I've always been a big believer that how I choose to use my words, I can either heal or I can hurt. I can help inspire, or I can add to some of the division that people are feeling right now and disappointment. So what I've done with Broken Little Believer is to try to share some hope and to try to share some inspiration and encouragement with people. And through this book, because I really relinquished myself, I relinquished control. I poured my heart and my soul into this book, and I am in awe of the people that I've met because of it. I'm in awe of the people who have reached out to me and told me that it was just what they needed to hear in their time of struggle. And so that's what I'm being blessed to do right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I took so many notes. I think I just wrote you a second book. I need a new notebook at this point. I'm telling you, I have never cried. I was angry. I yelled at the. I was like in here. I couldn't put it down, and I was like, "Oh, I cannot wait to talk to her and just see, like, can you tell everybody what it takes to be that honest, like to really get the gumption to say, I'm gonna be the one that says I'm gonna share my wounds."
Yeah. Ever since I was little, when something bad happened, I always said to myself, because if you don't have hope in a better day, if you don't believe that there is promise in tomorrow, then you lose all hope. And so from a young age, I always said to myself, when something bad happened, there had to be a reason for it. Because if there was no reason for it, then we're just enduring pain for it serves no purpose. We're just enduring pain. And I don't believe that. I think that we all endure things, we go through things, and we can use that pain to help others, and we can show other people what's possible. So I always told myself that there had to be a reason for it. So when I got a little older, people started saying, "Oh, you should write a book. You should write a book." And I said to myself, like, why would anyone ever want to read a book, really about some girl named Shane? And because I thought, I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a average, normal, everyday person. And the more things in the world started to change, the more I realized they really haven't changed. We've just lost sight of what's important. We've lost perspective. And so I started feeling these nudges and reminders of what I would tell myself when I was younger, that this is for a reason. This is delivering you and bringing you to something bigger. You have an obligation to share your message. You have an obligation to touch other people. And so I started writing, and as I wrote, more and more started to come to me. And I just, like I said in the beginning, I kind of relinquished all control, and I just allowed myself to write. and I
Yes.
allowed God to steer me in the direction of where I needed to be. And truth is hard.
Yeah.
Writing and speaking truth is hard. It's hard for the person who's delivering the message, but it's sometimes hard for the person who's hearing it, because we're all struggling in some way. And I think we go through life tucking things away. You had a great, you were nudged, and you had a great message come to you about putting things in the closet and not addressing them and not dealing with them. And I think that that's kind of what a lot of people do, because how often do we take everything out of our closet and say, okay, I'm tackling this all right now? We don't do that very often, but it starts to build up and build up. And then before you know it, it's this huge project that we have to tackle. And if we acknowledge these things as we go along, it just makes things so much easier, and we find greater peace.
Mm. Yes, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I couldn't believe I walked in the closet and it just hit me so hard. I was like, wow. And I haven't heard that word in so long, the word unseen. And I was like, unseen? What's unseen? And then the next thing you know, that traveled into something else. And I was like, I got it. I hear you.
Yes.
Fix
Yeah.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to get to it. So I love those revelations. So I tell you what, when I looked at Broken Little Believer from the cover, I was like, oh, maybe we're going on a trip. Or maybe the book is just a trip. But oh my goodness, it was so much more. Can I tell you that the baggage check was like brilliant?
Thank you.
The way you delivered it, maybe I shouldn't give it away. Maybe I should let you tell it. But what was your inspiration behind the traveler and really breaking it down? I felt like I had to go get some baggage, get on this trip and really be like, wait. And I'm not even gonna talk about the last chapters when you were like, the type of baggage that you're taking. So, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to use, because I know for me, mine is the cup, fill your cup. And that was around me being a coffee lover. And I felt like God was saying that's the message you need to give people is evaluating their cup of life and then giving them hope and saying that, hey, if I can look at this cup of life, reevaluate, go through that transformation, you can too. So what made you pick that type of storyline?
Well, without giving too much away, I grew up traveling the country. And I actually, when you look at the cover of that book and you see that little girl and that Volkswagen bus, that's how I grew up, in a Volkswagen bus. And we traveled the world. We traveled the country. And so I think it was a natural fit for me, because I've always kind of learned to be flexible. And I've learned that things don't always go according to plan. I've learned that, there's breakdowns and you run out of gas, and you meet unexpected people. And sometimes when you're pulling away from a gas station, you think, you know what? I may have just met an angel. We have these encounters all the time, but we get so busy that we don't notice them. So as I was writing and as I was thinking back on my life and how I grew up and how, for my husband, he when we met, he could not believe that I've lived in so many different places. But for me, I couldn't believe that he was born and raised in the same place. And like, that's, he never left. So, I think that, while some people can't imagine living all over the place and kind of living like a nomad, it taught me how to truly be resilient. It taught me to be observant. It taught me to be appreciative of so many things. So that was really the inspiration for why I created it, because it is a journey. It's a journey not only mine, because it's not just a story about me. It's a story that I really wanted to invite readers to come in, just like you said, get in the Volkswagen bus with me and let's go on this journey. Let's travel together. You don't have to go through the pain or feel alone or have questions, or go through change or endure grief or
Mm,
all those feelings. You don't have to do it by yourself. Let's go together and let's sort through this baggage and let go of the things that we don't need.
mm. So
So
good. Yeah, no, so good, because I felt like I love that, because that's been my sentence and my statement that I've been saying about, hey, ask for help.
yeah,
Be humble enough to say, I can't do this alone, and let's lock arms together, because this life is hard. It's
yeah,
hard to this it's not something, that a lot of us have grown up, and I had didn't have a lot of girlfriends, and I
hmm,
still have those one or two that I'm close with. But then
yeah,
my church family comes around. Now I have to adjust to say, well, I really do care about this person, and like trying to build those friendships based on something that happened in the past. And
yeah,
now you have to let that stronghold go. So I think you're right. We all need to take that moment to say, hey, I need you. I need somebody.
yeah,
How can we connect? There's something while we cross paths that are making us feel like we can maybe ride this journey out together. And
right,
again, it doesn't have to be a permanent journey either. It could be the seasonal
yeah,
journey. Just in that season, let's be together. Hmm.
exactly. And you just hit the nail on the head, because that's another part of this journey and the theme that I have, because it's so true.
Hmm.
Some of the people who started the journey with me, just like some of the people who started the journey with you, they
Right.
might not be they might not be part of your life anymore, or they might not be part of your journey.
Yeah.
I have connected with the hitchhikers in my life, the people who hopped in just at the right time, and either I was helping them or they were helping me.
Yeah.
And we shared, a bond. It might not have been a long lasting bond, but there was a purpose and a reason, and there was meaning for that connection.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. I love that hitchhiker. The hitchhiker. Hey, pick me up. Can I go
Yeah,
see it? I always think of that when you say hitchhiker. Put the thumb out.
anytime.
Put the thumb out. That's so good. It's so good. I'm like,
Yeah.
let me peek at my notes here. In the beginning, I did like how you said take account of the weight, the environment, the cultural environment, the imprint of, and then I put down the imprint of life, because I did make a little short about how sometimes, and like I was saying about the cup, the things we go through imprint on your mind, your heart, your soul, and your
Mhm.
spirit. But it's
Mhm.
completely up to us if we're going to continue to leave that print, or we're going to fill it with something else. And I think your book was a great example of, you could have totally went a different way. You could have totally said, that's my life. I'm going to live it just like that.
Mhm.
I want to be like my family members.
Mhm.
They did this. I can be like that too, because that was the example I saw.
Yep.
And I really felt like you were giving us all that example of breaking a cycle.
Mhm.
And I think a lot more people need to hear that, evaluate the weight of that imprint, and then saying, hey, what would it take for me to break a cycle on
Yep.
this? Do I want my children
Mhm.
to live that same life that I had?
Yep.
Do I want to treat the people around me? Did I enjoy the way I felt
Right.
in that situation? And then, trying to make sure that I'm portraying it differently. Because I think, and then go back to how we talk about God too, is we go through a transformation. You don't only want it to be internal, you
Mhm.
want it to be something that you can show on the outside. So I
Right.
think all in all, I love that you're saying, if you take account of that weight, it fixes the heart and the mind.
Yeah.
It makes you a better person wholly. Like
Right.
as mhm. So
Absolutely. And just reminding people that we all have a choice.
yes.
During COVID, I was finishing up this book, but I was it was never more relevant. It was never more important to me. All of a sudden, I had this renewed motivation, this
Mm,
renewed, like, now I need to write this book. Now I need to publish this book,
yes.
because it was the world had, while there was some remnants of humanity and there was goodness,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of hatred that was just bubbling up. It was just bubbling up. And during COVID, it almost became acceptable for people to behave badly
Mm.
because it felt as though it was a time, like feast or famine, like war, like it's survival of the fittest, or you have to do what you have to do. And there was almost this undertone where it was a little self-serving. And we all had to protect ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally,
Mm.
spiritually. But we we can do that for ourselves without hurting others. And I felt like there were so many opportunities where we could have risen to really showcase a better humanity. And
Mm.
I felt like, we had people on one side that were like, oh my gosh, like the salons are closed. I need to get my hair done. And then there were people who were suffering and losing people.
Yes.
Then,
Yes.
there were people who
Ah.
were just having babies and, they couldn't even get wipes. But then you
Mm.
had people who were hoarding toilet paper. It was like, from one extreme to the other. And I felt like all the while I was carrying a secret.
Uh-huh.
I had a huge secret, and I had a choice. I could have been bitter and
Mhm.
angry and
Mhm.
resentful, and I could have excused my behavior. I could have been like, you know what? I'm dealing with something, and I could have been ugly.
Mm.
And I thought, this is such a shame. Like, there's too much ugliness in the world.
Mm.
And going back to what you just said, when we fix the weight
Huh.
that we're carrying,
Yes.
that's when it shows outwardly to
Mm.
other people,
Mm.
because there were enough people who were snuffing out the light and the goodness in the world.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
felt like I needed to show that it was still possible and that there was goodness that still existed. And I
Mm.
wanted to, in a polite and subtle way,
Mhm.
show that we all carry baggage, but
Yes.
it's our choice how we want to handle it. It's our choice how we want to be an example or an excuse.
Mm. Oh my goodness, you so look at you dropping gems already. Look at you snuffing out the light. Yes, snuff out the light. I'm over here like I'm gonna. I knew you were gonna come with something real good, and that was I was like, yes. No. Like, yeah, like you like when you put a cup over
Mhm.
the lamp like a lit candle, what
Yeah.
happens? The light goes right out. Oh, that's so good.
Mhm.
That's so good. Yes, yes. Oh,
Thank
I
you.
love it. I knew you were gonna give us some great inspiration today. Great inspiration. The other thing that I loved about getting to know you through this book too is how close you and your grandmother were.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh man. I
Yeah.
was like, man, we could talk about grandmothers forever.
Oh my
I,
gosh.
I just love my grandmother's, and I mean, I love her today to death. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. The way you were talking about it, I'm like, ooh, I was like over here ugly crying over the fact that it's just that one person in your life that can make those key moments and make it feel
Mhm.
like the world is way different and
Yeah.
this person just loves you like no other.
Yeah.
And we go to the ends of the earth for you. And I just love that about the way you were talking about excuse me.
Mhm.
Did you call her Mimi? Was it Minnie or Mimi?
Mimi. Mimi.
Mimi.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to ask her, am I saying this right? I'm like, is she saying Minnie or Mimi? Mimi.
Yep. Yeah, and
Yeah.
however you pronounce it, but Mimi, yeah, Mimi was she was truth. She was love. She said things, I mean, things would come out of her mouth and you'd be like, Mimi. And she's like, I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. But she could deliver truth with such love.
Yes.
And I think, um, I might be going a little off. We have no script, but I may be going a little
No,
off
you're
course
okay.
with this.
No, you're
But
fine.
I have a feeling that you and probably a lot of other women who, whether you're, entrepreneurs, whether you're leaders, and whether you have your own business, whatever it is, sometimes we are easily misunderstood.
Yeah.
I learned from my grandmother
Yeah.
that you have to speak up. You have to speak up for other people who can't. You have to
Mm,
speak up for yourself. You have
mm,
to speak up for what you believe in.
yes.
And but she also taught me that when you speak up, you do so with respect, and you do so with dignity and grace, and you do so in a way that people listen. And so that was the best gift that she gave me. She had tact and she had grace, but she told you the truth. And as I've grown and become, as I became a woman and then got into the business world and then, writing and speaking, it's amazing how many people, they're like, okay, like, and I'm not saying it in an offensive way, but
Right.
people, I think, sometimes shy away from someone who is confident in truth.
Oh, that's so good. Because
So,
you're right. You're right. Can you imagine? Me and my mom was just talking about that this morning about how many people they only call me when they're ready to hear the truth.
mm-hmm.
But a lot of people will avoid me at all costs until it's time. And
Yeah.
it's always been a thing. And then sometimes, like you said, I walk into rooms and I used to have to, feel like, should I apologize for the
Yeah.
strong personality that's coming off of me? Or should I say, hey, I still smile. I'm still trying to be friendly, but it's not like I'm trying to steal the show.
No.
It's just that, it's how I won't know what my personality is. Just when I come in the room, I'm like, hey, I'm going to greet you. I'm coming
Yes.
in. I'm saying, and it is a misunderstanding. Like even now, I don't be honest. And I'm so glad you brought that up and maybe we can talk about it here.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm really big into my church. And when I came back to God this time, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it wholeheartedly. And I'm going to give it my all and chase him down. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He came
Mm-hmm.
after me. Now I'm chasing him down.
Yeah.
And I think that was the one thing that I was worried about the most with the book coming out or having these type of talks or making a podcast. Is like, okay, well, I don't want them to ever think that this comes before church or this
Right.
becomes before Jesus or I'm out here just doing this to get popularity.
Right. Right.
Most people are out here making videos because they're like, my numbers are up,
Right. 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 Right.
but I like that you're saying that we can come out here, we can talk, we can inspire, we can bring hope. Because I'm like, if some people are gonna come out here and they're gonna be an influencer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not be a positivity influencer? Why not be
Exactly.
a Christian influencer? Why not say the things that we want to say on the video that maybe could help some people when other people are out here, strolling and whatever other things are coming out? And everybody has their own preference. But I
Right.
feel like you said, there needs to be a balance.
Yes.
Like sometimes, and my husband probably gonna give me, I love you, honey. I always get you on video and say something. But they're gonna be. I told him one day we'll have to bring him on because he's poor little thing. I'm always talking about him, and he's like, oh man, you just throw me under the bus. I'm like, yeah, I love it, but he's like, I'm like, yeah, no, it's just so. Nah, I love you though. But he's on, it really is. He's on the phone, and I'm sitting right next to him, right? And I told him, if you scroll through my phone, and I'm like, no videos really pop up, and if they do, they are inspirational.
Right.
And then on his phone, I'm like, and that's him now. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of an interview, and then now and
Oh.
1 second,
Okay.
1 second.
Okay.
Crazy.
They say interruptions are divine messages from above. So let's see what she comes back with. I wonder what's at the door. Now I want to know who this was.
Isn't that like? I'm like, y'all getting the real right now. This is the
Of
real.
course.
This is me at home. See, nothing professional, right?
Exactly.
At home, like we're gonna do this thing, no matter what, at all costs.
Of course. And I said that interruptions are known to be divine messages from above. So I don't know what that was all about, but
Well, listen to you coming in here, and I'm gonna adjust my. Might as well do it all while we're moving all around. And my husband's yelling on video, so I don't know if I can edit that out, but if not, that'd be a good one for you guys as I talk about him. And
I
he
love it.
He's like,
this is
it
real.
was so real. This is real life. Like I'm out here inspiring you guys. I'm talking to Shane, and my husband's like yelling at me on the camera. Answer the door. Answer the door. My package needs to be signed for. Married life 101 right here. This is
Yes.
it. I ignored it. Listen, I ignored his phone call, and he was like, "That is not." So that's
he was going to reach you no matter what.
because he can see me. It's like a camera right here on the side of right here in the kitchen, like for security reasons.
Yeah.
And we got one on the front door. So on his little phone, you know, he got the little somebody's there.
Well,
it's back to talking about him.
Yeah.
Now I'm really gonna throw him under the bus. But I was telling him, you know, like I can pick up my phone and I can scroll through and I did a cleanse. Maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah.
I did a cleanse of Facebook, Instagram, all of it. And I said, if it is not aligned with kind of how I'm feeling right now in my journey, in my spirit, I'm either going to unfollow it or I don't want to say mute them, but I was, but it was like, take a break. What's that new little thing? But I was like, sometimes I kind of feel like people go through things and it's like, it's not what I want to see all the time. If I'm going to get on to see things, I want to make sure that it's filling me the way it should be and not negativity. But I told him the other day, he loves getting on, TikTok.
Yeah.
Don't matter what come up. Just scrolling. Videos just blasting me and the kids looking at him like, you know, and I kind of tell him, I'm like, not trying to bust your fun, but we're all sitting here together.
Yeah.
And it just gave me even more fire, like you said, to be the one to say, hey, let's do this differently. Hey, maybe there's a reason that we need more positivity. We need more people stepping out. Right. And that's why I wrote, you know, I did that video the other week because I couldn't believe, I was very shocked, but I guess I shouldn't have been shocked. Why write about positivity? And maybe I'll let you answer that too, because it's like, why write about how you made it to the other side? Why take that leap to say, I can do it and you can do it too? Why not write about whatever you think everybody else wants to hear? So maybe I take that to your perspective. What do you think about that?
Well, what I think about that is, taking one step back when you said, when you talk about church and you want to make sure that you being online and you doing podcasts and presenting, that you don't want them to think that has, taking precedence over your relationship with God and with Jesus. And I will tell you that we can use this technology, we can use these platforms to reach people. And the way that I look at it, especially because I visit a lot of schools, and I see these students, and this is them. They're just that, and it's not their fault. This is the world right now.
Right.
And I think that unfortunately, and fortunately, because we have this technology, sometimes it's these videos, it's those TikToks, if they're used, somebody's scrolling and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, and it gets their attention.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't your message get someone's attention when they need it? So there's a purpose for that. And so why write about positivity? Well, I don't always write about positivity. I write about heartache. I write about grief. I write about loss. I write about challenges. I write about hard things. But what I do is I try to write the silver lining. I try to write what is possible, and that what's happening right now and what we're going through, or where we came from, or what our present circumstances are, does not define who we are or where we're going.
Sure.
And so I feel like I'm not one of those frou-frou, like, oh, it's all, unicorns and rainbows and everything's perfect, because life is not perfect. So I think it's a fine line and a delicate balance, that when I write, I want to connect with people. I want them to know that, okay, she's human. Like,
Yes.
this girl was not born with a silver spoon in her mouth. This girl, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
And that's really, I think that's the goal. It's misery loves company.
Oh.
And if you get on social media, if one person starts talking about this, and you watch everybody's, misery loves company. I'd like to see people, reminding themselves to search for the light. Get out of the darkness. Get out of the darkness and start looking and searching for the light.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's so funny though, when you say that, then everybody's like, oh, you're pushing an agenda, you're pushing this. But it's really not even. A lot of times I tell people, yes, I came back to Jesus. I heard the call. I made a move. Honestly, if you would just take a step towards what you were saying, positivity, a change, and if you happen along the way to step upon the light that I found and let it bless you, then wonderful.
Yeah.
I would love that. But I'm going to continue living my life the way that I'm living it, talking about the Jesus that I love. And that's not to make anybody else feel any kind of way.
Yeah.
It's just to say that I know how bitter I was and resentful I was, and the things that I went through, and the person I was because of, ambition and all that other stuff. And I'm just saying, hey, there might be an easier way to look towards that light and, look towards positivity. And I'm just saying, hey, we're trying to give you the cheat code.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't crawl back on the hot coals like we did.
Yeah.
I'm saying, let me be the example, and then maybe take it from there. Listen to it. What would it hurt for you to hear the message?
Exactly.
And then say, well, maybe some of what she's saying makes sense. It doesn't have to be in full agreement, and we won't get on that. But we don't have to fully agree, but we can also just say, hey, some of that might be right. Maybe I do need to look at this. And that's the hard thing to do too, is to say, I'm gonna look in the mirror and point that finger back at myself and say, what else do I need to evaluate from here? And a lot of people don't want to do that. And then that builds up into that negativity and that personality, and it becomes them. Now you don't even know what you look like anymore. Like, do you remember the person you were before that root of bitterness or resentment grew?
Right.
Like, now you have to have rebirth. I feel like it has to be a new you that comes out, and you have to say, I want to start from fresh,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Whew. So let me ask you, in your book, was there like a chapter you were like, this is my favorite chapter?
I have a few favorite chapters.
Yeah.
But then there's some chapters that I really don't like, just because they were just so hard. They were so hard. Yeah. But I do have a few favorite chapters, and I think one of them was when I was younger, and it was one with my brother, and there was a dog involved.
Oh yes.
And and it was just, we always had each other, and it also, was, I'm still a huge animal lover. Oh. But it just showed, it showed the power of connection, human connection between animals. There was another chapter.
Yes.
driving cross country in the middle of the night and we came across something.
Oh, yes.
And
Yep.
that was, another example of how, what was an unfortunate situation,
Yeah.
it turned out to have a beautiful
Yeah.
ending. And
Yes.
it was a testament of the love that, that we had for a stranger, and the love that someone else had, that, so
Yeah.
there's a few things that I think about and look back on, and I'm so grateful for those memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
beautiful moments. I just felt like it was like a hint of, like, you can see. I love that you were putting your brother in here and there, and you can really
Yeah.
see. I love that you explained everything so well. Like when the person came in, I would write the name down and I'd be like, oh. And then the person did what? And oh my goodness, they're with who? And
Yeah.
oh yes, they made it. Oh, what happened? You just get
Yes.
grateful. And then I'm like, I need me one, I need this person in my life too. Like, wait a minute. And let me tell you, your friendship, I'll just say that when y'all get to the chapter about the friendship we all need. Can I say you are wonderful? I just want to say you are such a wonderful being. And what you did was so mighty, and just the way that you did that with grace. And then let us walk through that raw emotion of love with you. Thank you for writing that. Thank you for being there and just saying, hey, this is love.
Yeah.
Okay. That was some true love between two individuals that probably wouldn't even cross paths really if you would have made some of those other decisions that
Yeah.
people will read about. If you would have went a different direction, but you were aligned to be at
Yeah.
that moment in that period at that time, and you were able to see that process flow out.
Yeah.
Then it went into then it went into your own process that you had to
Yeah.
deal with. And I'm like, where's her person? You know, I wanted to jump through the pages and be like, please let me be that for you. I was like, you are allowing all of us to be that person
Yeah.
in your corner.
Well, thank you. You can see,
Yeah,
I,
me talking about it again. I'm like,
I,
it was one.
and you talking, yeah, getting all teary eyed. And I have to tell you, she was such a gift to me. She was such a gift to me. And I often said, and like when we were together all the time, and I would say, I wouldn't, it was hard. It was so hard. It was, it was filled with pain. It was filled with heartache. It was filled with tears. It was filled, I wouldn't have changed it for anything, because the truth and the love and the genuine, that feeling, that I don't know that we would have ever discovered had we not been by each other's side
Yeah.
through, literally through hell.
Yes.
And so today I have to share with you,
Oh.
every single year I get all emotional, and I love her girls. I love her girls. So while I'm emotional, I'm always thinking about them. And but every year I get emotional, and every year, I'm always aware of signs, and I look for signs. I look for goodness. I look for little things that remind me. So, and this, that is not a trick. It's, if you look for goodness, you'll find goodness. If you look for, hatred, if you look for negativity, you're going to find that too.
Exactly.
But I'm always looking for signs, and every time I thank her for a sign, it's like she shows off and I get more. So what I didn't share with you,
Okay.
when you asked if I would be on your podcast,
Yes.
today is actually her birthday. And I said
No.
to myself, yes, and I said to myself, what better way to honor and remember her
Woo.
than, to talk
Woo.
about who she was. What a
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful person she was. The humor, the
Mm.
heart, the commitment and conviction to her family, the love that she had that will always, always remain. Um, she's an angel, and
Yeah.
I know she's always with us, and she's loving her girls and so proud of her girls and the
Mm.
beautiful young women that they're becoming.
Yeah.
And and I'm grateful that even though it was painful,
Yes.
that it was one of the best gifts that I've received.
Mm.
So
And it was, let me tell you, and it's a beautiful gift. As you can see, I'm like all the way in. I'm like, I love her too. Like the way you wrote, I'm like, I love you both. I'm like, "Ugh, oh no." It was just amazing. I was like, I have a girlfriend. I call her my sister, and we've been. I couldn't even imagine. Okay, we're not even. Mm.
yeah.
It's
Mm-mm.
been 20 some years of my life, and I just couldn't even imagine. So when you walk through it, I was like, oh. But yes, it just was a beautiful. You just did it so beautifully.
Thank
It
you.
was it was like it had the emotion, but it wasn't like I was left feeling like hope was gone. The hope was still there.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
hey, that was for, like you said, it was for a reason.
Yeah.
It was for
Absolutely.
a reason. And man, for you to share that, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, y'all guys, y'all gonna be crying too, because I'm up here in a hot mess. Y'all gotta get this book. Oh my goodness. I'm just saying, when y'all read that chapter, you're gonna see the beauty and the grace, and then to find out, look at God is he's so good.
Hmm.
To have it be today, can we just say happy, happy, happy birthday to such a lovely, lovely person, such a beautiful being, and a strong will, just strong person. And I mean, yes, and bless her family. And
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
bless them all the way. But yes, so happy I brought that up.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing it was her birthday.
Hmm.
Oh, I feel like we just, oh, I love that. I love that. So that's a tell time, like in Broken Little Believer, it's not all about being broken. It's
Nope.
about finding your way and saying, I'm going to stand up to this. I'm going to walk in it. I'm going to be strong in it. I'm
Yep.
going to listen, look at my pages, look at my baggage. That baggage was worn and torn, but
Yep.
I still made it.
Yep.
Um, what would be some advice that you maybe want to give to a reader when they pick up your book?
Well, one of the things, and just tying in with what you just said, is that if we choose to go through life feeling helpless,
Mhm.
we will be hopeless.
Mhm.
And we have to dig down deep. It's leaning on a friend, it's leaning on a family member, it's leaning on your faith. It's forcing yourself to change your perspective and to not look so much at all the weight that you're carrying, but what that weight is going to transition into, what it
Mhm.
will become. Is it going to be your success story? Is it
Mhm.
going to be your win? Is it going to be a testament to someone else? Is it going to is it going to be your victory, your
Mhm.
song that you overcame and you did so with grace? Or are you going to let it sink you? Are you going to hold on to it and let it sink you? Because
Mhm.
we have a choice to let it go. We can let it go and be free and feel lighter.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need a little help. So I don't mean, because some people misinterpret that and they say, well, sometimes you can't help it. I'm not talking about mental health. I'm talking about, because we all need help, support, a friend, a family member. We all need a resource and support. I mean, in our own personal circumstances, when we wake up in the day, practicing, because it's a practice. everybody has bad days,
Yes.
and bad things happen to good people.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a choice in how we're going to frame that, and
Mm.
the perspective and the lens in which we look at it.
Yes.
So, we can't, if we choose to be helpless, then we become hopeless.
Oh,
And
that's
we need to be filled with hope. And so anyone who begins this journey, and I hope that you do,
yes.
I wrote it in a way that I genuinely invite people to get in the bus with me. And as they go through these trials, tribulations, celebrations, victories, it's sometimes easier for people to, it's like watching a movie. You can watch someone else's pain and you can kind of be anonymous, and you can sit in the back seat of the bus and you can just watch someone else go through it, and in a way you can kind of like sort through your own pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I invite you to get in the bus, and you can be as active in the journey, or you can sit back and kind of be anonymous. But
Mm-hmm.
after every chapter I give prompts,
Yeah.
and prompts to reflect on the journey so far. Was there something that stood
Mm-hmm.
out to you? Was it something that, maybe a pain or some baggage that you forgot you even had in that closet, and now it's time to purge? Now it's time to, it doesn't fit me anymore, it doesn't suit me anymore, it's time to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then, it wouldn't be a journey without music. So every single chapter is a song, and the songs are songs that I love. They're songs that remind me of that exact time in my life. And I think, it's kind of like Dolby surround sound. You're reading something, you're hearing the music, you're on this journey, and I hope at the end that you made a friend, because that's the way I wrote it. That I want you to feel like you made a friend, the
Yes.
friend that I've always searched for, the friend that I've wanted to find along the way, the friends that I have found along the way. So,
Yeah. And you did a fabulous job. Fabulous job. I did. I left out of there and I was like, of course, I have the gracious opportunity of messaging you. But I think you did it so well. And I was like, how in the world did I end up in New York
right,
with such, from where I came from,
right,
at the same moment in time, with such wonderful people, and then to read this book to even seal the deal even more. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful that you took time today to talk to me. Like, even the way you're talking now, I'm like, it feels the same way it did when I heard your voice on your audiobook. And I'm just like, I just want to play it again. I just want to play it again. I was like, I felt so comforted even by this conversation. I'm like, I feel like like so relaxed from hearing you talk, and I just feel like, oh my goodness, like life is could be. You seen that little emoji where the little dog's sitting there, but the flames are falling all over. Like the world could be burning, but then like hearing you talk, it's like, it's just such an inspiration. It's like you give people, you make them feel so light and like refreshed, like just
right,
from talking to you. And that's the light that you're giving all of us. And I hope when people listen to this, they can hear the passion behind your story, your invite, your personal. It was so personal. Invite to become not even just a reader, but like you said, to find that friend, to find somebody else to
mhm,
look towards, to say, hey, you're the perfect example for all of us. And I hope there's so much more coming. I hope that you know that I'm like waiting. I'm just waiting to see what's next. And I
same
and
here.
I don't know if you're allowed to share if there's anything next, but I'm praying you can give us a little glimpse.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, thank you so much. Truly, I told you there are no coincidences, and I know it's not just a belief. I know that God makes ways possible. And
Mhm.
he made it possible that day, in that moment. You caught your flight, you made it there, we met. It was there was no accident about it. And I feel
Mhm.
so blessed that we have gotten to know each other better through email, and now like seeing each other live,
Yeah.
in this podcast. And you, my friend, are filling cups. And
Oh,
you are, as a coffee drinker myself,
yeah.
it is warm and inviting and sweet, and it's a perfect presentation all the way around, and I can feel it, and I
Oh,
admire and respect you, and I salute you for bringing what some might say is taboo,
yes.
discussing faith. No, no,
Mm,
no, 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 no. We've heard it before. Never shrink yourself. Our
mm,
faith and what we believe, there's nothing to shy away from. If
yeah.
there's ever been a time when we need people to speak up and just be true to themselves
Mhm.
and true to their heart and unashamed and unapologetic, because it's all goodness. It's
Yeah.
not There's nothing harmful. That it's just goodness and love and understanding and compassion. So thank you for filling my cup.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Oh, thank
sharing it
you.
with me.
Oh,
And and to answer your question, yes, I wrote a children's book, and the children's book is all about empathy and love and compassion and being aware of the world and the people around us. And it kind of starts. It is a tribute to a local bridge that came down, but the bridge is very symbolic. The bridge is symbolic to us, that we all carry heavy weight, and
mm,
a lot of the time, we don't notice the bridge or the person until it starts to break down and get old and fall apart.
wow.
And we need to notice these things, and we need to recognize and appreciate the people and the value that people and places and things do for us in our lives before they break down. But
Yes.
I am working on some other books,
Yeah.
and another adult book, and then some more children's books. So I'm keeping busy.
Woo, there's more to come, more to come. I'm excited. So, can you tell everybody how to reach you, where to find your book?
Yes. So you can, my book is in not every Barnes and Noble, but it's in Barnes and Noble. It's in on all online platforms. So Amazon, Target, Walmart, all those things. And then fine bookstores. And you can reach me or find me on social media, Broken Little Believer, or just Shane Svorec. And yeah,
Yeah,
I would
that's
love to
it.
connect. I would love to connect.
Oh, yeah. You guys look her up. Oh my goodness. Are you on Goodreads too?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
awesome, awesome.
yes.
Okay. Be sure grab this book, you guys. I am telling you, it does not disappoint. Oh, I didn't even look, we would need 2 or 3 hours to get through my notes. Since we're only giving you a snippet just to say there is hope in this book, there is love in this book, there is trial in this book. The wounds are being shown, and I just feel like there's so many cheat codes on how to heal through them, how to walk through them, and I mean did it, and it's just I'm so excited, you guys. Maybe we just need to have a little book club come together when everybody reads it. Drop us a comment. Let me know if you get a copy too, because I need somebody else to feel what I've been feeling. Get out today. Find Shane online. Once you read it, let her know how grateful you feel about this book. Leave a review. She is so gracious. I know she would love to hear from you.
I would love it.
I will, yes. Look, she's like, I would love it. Because I know I did enough. I did enough blowing her up. But yes, you guys get this book now, Broken Little Believer. Subscribe, find her, follow her so you can hear all the other good things that are going on. She's always traveling. Such a beautiful thing to see her with the children. Thank you again, Shane, for coming on here. Hopefully, maybe we can have you back to talk about something else or another topic. Be
Yeah,
wonderful, be wonderful. But you guys, I hope your cup feels just like mine is overflowing and we are being filled together. Come back again and check me out. I look
yeah,
forward to making more content and being here with you because we all just need to be in this thing together. As we said, let's lock arms and
yeah.
be filled. Love you guys. Until next time. Thank you so much, Shane. I hope
Thank
you have a
you.
wonderful, wonderful week.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Bye.